Happy Friday, everybody, and happy 4th of July. I'm Fox 19 Now, First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart with a Independence Day weather update. Really hot day today. We're going to be warming back up into the upper 80s, low 90s, so not as hot as our last little heat streak we saw outside for late June, but still pretty warm out there. We're talking mid-90s here for the next few hours in terms of the heat index values. Make sure to stay cool, stay hydrated if you're going to be out and about today because, most of the day it's going to be mostly sunny skies. Not a lot of shade, not a lot of cloud cover to help keep you cool, and certainly very little breeze at all. Winds up to about 5 miles an hour at the ground level. So, again, not a lot of that either. Just drink plenty of water. You'll be in good shape. Get out there and enjoy it if you're going to be out and about. Let's hop over here and have a look. It's always nice when you're not breaking records. You're not seeing any extremes. Let me shut this door real quick. Always nice when you're not seeing any, big weather problems or extreme weather for a holiday, especially with a lot of outdoor plans for this one. The hottest 4th of July we ever had was back in 1911. You got to go all the way back up. Probably very few people watching this stream were around for that. 102, our hottest 4th of July ever here in Cincinnati. The coldest was 50 degrees. That's our coldest, just low temperature. So I feel like if we're going to beat any of those anytime soon, maybe that one will be the one we head for. That one was back in 1968, and maybe the other record that is pretty beatable for this time of the year when you see some showers and thunderstorms. Usually this time of the year you'll see a lot of that. 1.87 inches. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, does it? 1932. Probably not a lot of people around that remembered that 4th of July either. We have none of these big issues. Like I said, it will be warm. There will be a lot of sunshine, so stay cool. But, it's better than the hottest anyway. That'll be our only issue we see outside for the 4th of July this year. How about some more numbers? We'll throw some more numbers at you to start the stream today. 4th of July, you always hear it's like, oh, it's hotter than a firecracker on the 4th of July or something, right? Typically, here in Cincinnati, maybe that's a little misleading. I think maybe because we typically see some high humidity this time of year, maybe that skews your opinion, or maybe because it's all that sunshine, it makes it feel really hot out there. We're not going to hit 90 in a lot of spots today. I have us set, officially for a forecast today at 89 degrees. We're close, but only 28% of all 4th of Julys are 90 degrees plus here in Cincinnati. You would probably think that number would be a little bit higher, right? Not the case. Our normal high is 86, so we're above normal today. 86 is the normal, only 28%, almost about a quarter or so. Less than a third of all 4th of July is 90 degrees plus. 80% now, when you jump up to 80 degrees, or jump down, I should say, to 80 degrees, we jump up in the percentage department, 80%, 4/5 of all of our 4th of Julys, that's too many numbers, just 80% of our 4th of Julys have temperatures over 80 degrees. So, and then after that, I forget what the other number is, but I think like it was 90-something percent. I don't have it written down. I had it on a different piece of paper, but 90% or something is 70 degrees plus. So we have very few 4th of Julys, under that 80-degree mark. A little bit misleading maybe because, again, I think a lot of people think that, the 4th of July is just always just really, really hot. And a lot of times it is, but not that hot, at least not to the 90-degree mark. Let's throw more numbers at you. Why not? And then we'll finally get into it. That's a lie. I have one more graphic after this with numbers on it, I promise. Then we'll get into something useful for you before we go into full-on hot dog and hamburger mode. 9:07 is our sunset tonight. Remember, yesterday was 9:08. We are starting to lose the daylight now. After our first day of summer back in June, we're losing another 40-some-odd seconds a day, 44 seconds of daylight today. But the sunset time has been on a nice streak there where it was 9:08 for about 13 or 14 days or something like that. But today we finally start to see that earlier sunset time at 9:07. So we have exactly 9 hours and 3 minutes of daylight left if you want to get out there and enjoy it. Again, it's steamy out there, so be careful. Sunsets by the time we hit early December. I think it's December 3rd or something like that. We'll start to set there by 5:15. Of course, we have daylight saving time coming to an end as well, so that knocks off an hour. 5:15 p.m. sunsets. I think I'll take the 9:07. It depends on kind of what shift you're working and what the plans are. Maybe you want to have those fireworks a little bit earlier. You can't do that when the sun sets at 9:07. A lot of the shows tonight happening for the 4th of July after 10 o'clock. I promised one more number thing, and then we'll be done. All together in this month, I told you we'll lose 44 seconds of daylight today. In the entire month of July, you add it all up, it's 40 minutes. I think it was like 39 minutes and 40 some odd seconds. So we'll round it up to 40 minutes of daylight lost in the month of July. If you think that is bad, September is the worst. September we lose, I did not write this down either, so don't quote me, but September I think we lose an hour and 28 minutes or something of daylight. So, you know, we lose a lot, but not as much as we lose when we get to the month of September. 40 minutes of daylight less this month than what we saw outside for the peak there in June. So we're losing it. Hopefully, like I said, just stay cool out there. Nice day today. It's just warm. We're already up to 87 at Lunkin, 86 at CVG. A little wider view across the Ohio Valley of what we're dealing with. And again, it's mild. 86 is the normal for this time of the year, so we're already on par for that. We'll be back in the upper 80s this afternoon, but it's the humidity. The last couple days, it's been okay. It hasn't been too humid outside, but that humidity's starting to crank up today, and it's already making it feel like 88 degrees. Some spots, our typical trouble spots, Batesville, Lebanon, already feels like, the low to mid-90s outside. So stay cool out there. That's it for today. A few little itty-bitty clouds starting to pop back up across the area. You'll see them here on the loop. Those little white, they almost look like paint specks, right? Out there flicked against the map. Those little itty-bitty spots are those little fair weather clouds. You can see them here behind me. Let me find my full screen again. It's these little itty-bitty fair weather clouds popping up across the area. More often than not, it's nothing. You might be able to see some sort of animal in those or something, right? Go out and look at the clouds, but 9 times out of 10 on a day like today when high pressure is settling on in, you don't really see any issue with those clouds. But high pressure is just far enough away. We're kind of on the periphery of that high off to our south. Just a few of these are just going to get going just enough. What you're really seeing here is just that pocket of warm air, a warm air thermal starting to rise up, and that's just visibly seen there with some of these clouds that start to develop. Now, when you get one of those more intense thermals rising up and they get a little bit taller, those clouds get a little thicker and darker, that's when you could see a few showers start to develop from these. So that's something we're keeping an eye on. I was still pointing to it like you can see what I'm pointing to, but my hand's behind the map. So it's a Friday. I haven't done this in a while. I know Anna's been filling in here and Aaron the last couple of days. I have some projects I've been working on here in the background. So thank you to both of them for helping to lighten my load a little bit in the last couple of weeks. And you'll notice that through the month of July. Just a heads up on that. I'm not going to be doing a ton of the noon shows except for Fridays. Just because we got some stuff happening behind the scenes that somebody spotted the other day. Some eagle eye spotted a little bit of a change that you'll be seeing. I can't really, I could. I don't think it's that big of a secret, but I'll just keep it a secret for now. Maybe we'll hint at it a little bit more as we work our way through the month of July. August should be that change, and you'll see that coming soon to a television near you. Off to the northwest, looking here at the map, you can see a few of those high, thin clouds starting to drift on in. Let me get my pointer finger here, and you can see some of this high, thin cloud cover. Let me zoom out a little bit, and you'll see what we're dealing with here. That is a dying storm system that's been rolling across Lake Michigan up there. Get my pointer finger again. All of this up here is falling apart. We're not going to see any rainfall from this today. Again, the only thing we're going to see is maybe just a chance for a few isolated storms this afternoon. But we are seeing a few of the high, thin clouds from this rolling on by. They look pretty interesting outside. Let's see if I can... I'll just stop it. Why would I go through this whole thing just like a normal show when I could stop and move around all willy-nilly on you? What do we got here? So earlier, you can kind of see some of those high, thin clouds here in this image that are drifting on down from that storm system. You have the little fair weather clouds, those little thermals popping up. But what you can also see in this image, if it wants to, load for me, here we go, are these little high, thin clouds streaming on by way up aloft. So if we go back to the other image, burn that into your mind for a second. Don't look at the sun and burn that into your mind. You don't want that. But those little high, thin clouds rolling on in. And now we take a look back at the satellite imagery. Load. There's those little high, thin clouds right there. You can see them here sliding in from the west. There they are showing up in the imagery there. That's all from that system up in Lake Michigan that's kind of fallen apart. Again, we do not have to worry about that for much longer. We will not see any rain from that. But the little itty-bitty clouds we're seeing now across the area could give way. They're like little seeds, little plants, right? And if they grow strong enough, we could see a few little storms popping up this afternoon. 98% of us are going to stay dry today. Weather, other than temperatures, not going to be an issue for any of your 4th of July plans. Just very warm outside. You're probably prepared for it because, after all, it is July. It's one of our, it is our warmest month of the year. So not surprising. 89, a little bit above normal today. Feels like temperatures mid-90s outside. So working our way through. Like I said, we're already at 86. Already nailed this forecast because that doesn't automatically update it. 88, 89 degrees by 4 o'clock, 87 by 8. So still, even by 8 to 9 o'clock, close to sunset, we're still mid to upper 80s. And I think by fireworks time tonight, this graphic, a lot going on in this. But the big thing right there is the number in the bottom right corner, 80 degrees. This is by about 10 o'clock tonight. Some spots, maybe some upper 70s, but it's a very muggy 80. Be prepared for it. And if you're a photographer, you dabble in the photography, and you're trying to get pictures of fireworks tonight, really focus on the start of the show, because by about 2 minutes in, we aren't going to have much wind tonight. High pressure is sitting right over top of us. That makes things nice and calm, and you see a lot of sunshine. But what it does for fireworks, and you probably already know what I'm going to say if you are dabbling in the photography, is that once you get about 3 or 4 fireworks to go off, they put off a lot of smoke, right? And if you do not have any wind, that smoke just sits there. And, typically you start off in a fireworks show with some low fireworks first. And towards the end of the show, those fireworks start getting bigger, and the bigger ones go up a little higher. And then you have the finale. But in this case, that smoke's going to be building the whole time. And by the end of these shows, it's still going to be nice to the naked eye. But photography-wise, you're going to have a really kind of muted display because everything's going to be behind the smoke. So you still have a lot of good times if you're going to be out watching the fireworks show, but specifically for those photographers out there with no wind tonight, expect the smoke to just kind of sit there. It's also a high humidity, low wind kind of a night, and that smoke it's typically pretty thick in that kind of a setup. So just be prepared for that. Anybody have a favorite firework color? I showed this earlier this morning. If you weren't watching, and I don't blame you because it's a holiday. Not a lot of people watch the news, it turns out, on the holidays, but we're still here for you, just in case a little isolated shower pops up. But if you have a favorite firework color, I saw this earlier this week, and I thought I would share it with you. It all comes down to chemistry, right? It's not just magic. I think we wish it would just be a magical thing. But they all are made up of various ingredients. We're not going to go with a full chemistry class. I'm not taking you back to high school, but these are the common colors you see with fireworks, right? Typically a lot of bright whites. I'll talk about that in a second with a little personal story, but if you like red fireworks, they all have different elements, right? And a lot of these elements are rare elements. Copper, that's a pretty expensive element, right? If you ever have to buy copper, and you know why that's a big crime thing, because it is expensive. Fireworks prices have gone up, as you've noticed, if you try to go out and buy any this year, because it's hard to import a lot of these things, and get a decent price on those. Strontium, if you like red, it's strontium. Calcium is the orange firework. If you are more of a, let's say, a purple firework fan, again, you can get a mix of strontium and copper to make that happen. I, back in the day, for one whole fireworks event, worked with Rosie's. I got a fireworks pyrotechnician license, and I worked up in Troy, Ohio, to shoot off some fireworks there. And up in Troy, and when I was working for Rosie's, so specifically I'm gonna mention the fireworks that they shoot off either for finales or for maybe the ones after like a Reds home run, the boom, 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 right? Those, you know it. They run like a 30-second finale for Riverfest. Those are only, and you're thinking, okay, well, those have to be huge. They make a really loud noise, right? They're only about 3 inches big, right? 3-inch diameter. And they call them titanium salutes. And I always wondered for a long time, I'm like, why do they call them titanium? Maybe it's just because they're shiny white, I don't know. No, it's because the bright colors, a lot of times, brought to you by a mix of magnesium, aluminum, and titanium. So titanium salute, little 3-inch shell. Happy 4th of July to you, Angie. Yeah, if you're going to be watching, if you could see them from home, even better. Especially, like, the biggest thing today, look, without getting too much into it, because I don't want to dive into it. It's hot. And, it is going to be hot. It's July. You know it's going to be hot, but, it's going to be pretty warm outside. As long as you can find some shade, if you're going to a parade or you take plenty of breaks, hop inside for a half hour at a time just to cool off a little bit, because I don't want it to catch up with you. That's all I'm saying here in terms of the heat today. It is hot outside, but you'll be in all right shape. Same for this weekend. This weekend's going to be even warmer. By the time we hit this weekend, no comments on that one. That's a surprise. If you're going to be out this weekend, FC Cincinnati's back for the first time, and what seems like, hello, Sarah, happy 4th to you. FC Cincinnati, the last time they were home was back in June because, of course, FIFA took over the stadium for the Club World Cup, and then we had the United States women's national team play out here last Sunday. So FC Cincinnati has been kicked out for a whole month. They are back. The last game, I wore a crew neck sweatshirt to it. It was a little chilly out there in the evening. Of course, I'm soft, so I wore a nice soft sweatshirt. Most other people probably got away with shorts and maybe a T-shirt, but it was a little chill to the air. The air was real dry out there the last time they had a game in June. They've been gone, or it was probably late May. June, they've been gone the whole time. They're back now, and on July the 5th, and we're talking 92 degrees. That's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so as you're getting down there, hitting all the bars and whatnot, 92 feels like temperatures most of tomorrow afternoon, 100 plus. It will be sweaty. You will not be, like me, wearing a crew neck sweatshirt to that match tomorrow. It's a great day to be a fan in the seats with all the free refreshments because I think you'll be going through water and whatever else you want pretty easily through the day tomorrow. Stay cool out there, take breaks, mix in plenty of water. Same goes for any other outdoor plans this weekend. Just a really warm weekend. Very similar to that heat wave we had to end June. 92 for the pre-match, 89 still by the kickoff. It's certainly better than running around on the field. I would not want to be a player in this. I played in some temperatures that were about this warm or this humid, and it's not fun. Your feet feel like you're on fire if you're on a turf field. 86 for the drive home. Yes, still at about 9 to 10 o'clock, we're talking mid-80s. A very warm day tomorrow. It will be a Chicago Fire on the field. We're going to weigh into next week. This is our next chance for rain. Our next best chance, really, for rain. We'll have a chance for a few, like I said, downpours today. Most of us are dry. The best chance for rain in the near term comes in on Monday, and this is going to be, it's a cold front. I don't love to call them cold fronts this time of the year. I think that's a little misleading. It is what I like to call a slightly cooler than hot front. It's going to cool us down just a few degrees. We're talking mid-80s instead of the upper 80s, low 90s, so just a few degrees cooler. But what it does is that little difference in air temperature, it cannot hold the moisture, right? Colder air can't hold that moisture that the warm air does, and so it effectively wrings out the atmosphere like a sponge of all the humidity we'll see through the weekend. And that will lead to the better rain chances there on Monday. Not a complete washout, but there will be a good chance for rain. I think just about everybody will get some rain at some point. It just won't be an all-day event. Some of those storms through the afternoon have the potential to be a little stronger. We'll keep an eye on that for Monday, but no severe weather threat yet. We'll keep an eye on things for Monday. We dry out a bit Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, a second storm system will bring us scattered storms out there, and this one will bring us some humidity relief by the end of next weekend or next week into next weekend. So things are looking a little better as we work way into next weekend. Here's the muggy meter up until then. It's all up from here. Not great. So Angie was saying purple fireworks. Yeah, so, all of those just have little different chemical components to them. It's a little chemistry to give you those different colors. And that's why you see, more of the whites and the golds, because those elements typically are a little bit more affordable. They're a little cheaper to get. And that's why you also will see some of those other colors more often than not. They're just the chemistry that makes it up. The chemicals you need are a little bit cheaper in some cases than some of the other fireworks. So yes, that was back to the firework conversation. Somebody had mentioned they like purple fireworks, so I was trying to chime in on that again. Muggy meter, again, I know it just says humid on there. Don't be fooled. It is going to be very sticky outside this afternoon. Compared to the last couple days where we caught a little bit of relief, it's all up from here by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Like I said, a slightly cooler than hot front really doesn't do us any favors in the next week, but increased rain chances hopefully at least keep temperatures down a few more degrees. Here are the highs. 90s this weekend, both days, and then a little bit more seasonable Monday to Friday of next week. But I know it looks like a little uptick by the end of that forecast there, but that is going to be drier air, so that 85 will feel like 85. Here are the heat index values, or it's going to lie to me and tell me it's the 90s. Grain of salt here. 101 triple-digit heat indices out there for Saturday and Sunday. Again, just very warm outside. More relief, I promise you. It'll feel nicer next weekend. Here's the 7-day forecast. Let me hop to the one. So that is today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Let me hop to the PM version so you get a bonus day in there. So just keep an eye on there Friday because that'll disappear. 89 outside for the day-to-day. Let's load up the evening version of the 7-day. And we'll load this in here for you, and you will see that tomorrow, when Sunday, as promised, low 90s outside, 87 for your Monday, and that's the next chance for rainfall. And of course it is, because you're going to enjoy a nice 3-day week and then have to go back outside in the rain for your Monday back to work. Also, the Reds are in town after a nice, long break. They haven't been at the Great American Ballpark here for a few days. They're coming back to rain chances too on Monday. Sun and cloud mix, filtered sunshine, and mostly dry Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Still mild and still muggy. And then a second round of rain, excuse me, will help to get rid of some of that humidity and keep temperatures just a little bit cooler towards the end of next week. And since it is a holiday, and since I've talked about just about and said the word hot as many times as humanly possible, I think we're going to call it quits just a little bit early here on a Friday so you guys can get back out to whatever you're doing. Maybe you're heading out to a parade right now. Enjoy it. It looks like a really nice day to do just about anything out there. Outside of that, slimmest of chances for a shower storm this afternoon. Just a hot and humid day, nice out there. Temperature today about 89 degrees, 90s for the weekend. And again, the next best chance for rain will slide in early next week, just as you head back after a nice long holiday break. Enjoy the 3-day weekend if you have it. Enjoy any kind of outdoor festivities. Be safe out there. Let the professionals shoot off those fireworks. As much as, we would love to have the story, we would not like to have that story. Please keep all of your appendages. And we'll see you again. I'll see you again. Maybe not. We'll see. It's either going to be me, Aaron, or Anna. We'll see who works out there on Monday. One of us will be back early next week with more of this live streaming fun here. Enjoy your weekend. I don't know where I was going with any of that. Have a happy holiday weekend, everybody.